It's Tuesday.
Yes. Welcome everybody.
Welcome back to Coffee and Convos.
Yes.
With the Padillas.
You saying it right now, bro.
I know.
I'm proud of you.
I'm learning. You see, baby, I'm teachable.
Yes.
I'm very teachable.
I appreciate that, man.
Listen, the support that we're getting, guys, thank you so much.
Overwhelming. Like, we are so grateful. We wouldn't be able to do what we do without your support, without you guys tuning in, without you sharing, without you listening. It has been such a blessing to hear what God has already done in just 2 episodes.
That's it.
I'm so excited about it.
It's crazy. I mean, people are texting, they're writing us private messages.
Yes.
Just saying how it's really ministering to them. And that's the point of this.
Yeah.
We're not just here to talk and just like waste people's time. I mean, we want people to grab something out of this.
Yes.
I mean, I know it's just a regular conversation we're having, but at the end, I'm praying that God would touch people through this. That's the purpose.
Amen.
I mean, we could be doing a lot of other things with our time.
Yes.
But I believe that we're doing this because we want God to minister to people through us in this form, in this fashion.
Yes.
So thank you guys so much.
Yes.
Keep sharing. Keep spreading the word about Coffee and Combos with the Padillas. We have a lot of great things that are coming up real soon. So stay connected through our social medias as well.
Yes.
We finally opened our Facebook page. We do have our Instagram. Little victories. But
you should put a little like
a little sound.
Like a little clapping sound there.
Yeah, for next time we'll do that. A little applause. That's good. Good idea, baby.
That's cute.
Gotta write that down. Keep sharing, guys. Really keep sharing. We really need to do that. That way we can continue to make an impact in people's life. Also, they can email their questions.
Yes, to coffee@myelevatedlife.org. Questions, suggestions on topics that you would like us to talk about or cover.
Yeah.
And we'd love to hear from you. Even testimonies, just, what God has done through the podcast in your life.
Yeah.
Maybe there was something we spoke about that really ministered to you, and you have a testimony you want to share with us. We'd love to hear all about it.
Yeah.
It really does encourage us to hear, how God is ministering to his people. So I'm super excited because I feel like this episode is doing exactly what we had prayed for it to do.
Yeah.
Which is just blessing people and, giving people a little bit of our story, but at the same time, speaking about topics that really matter and that we go through on a daily basis. So
I think people need that. I think, especially when it comes to like Christian people, it's kind of like we've kind of just held back. And I think that we need to keep it real. Yeah. I mean, society, the devil is really aggressive.
Yes.
And our kids and just people are being exposed to stuff. And then the church and Christian people are trying to like be really quiet and silent about things, when in reality we should be talking about this, keeping it real. And authentic, and so I believe that with this podcast, that's what we're going to do. And so we're not your typical, Christian pastors, and we're very real, relevant, authentic.
Bold.
We're not afraid to share our scars, because they're testimonies.
Yeah,
and people need to know that though we're pastors, we're also human.
Yes,
and so forth. So, I'm so glad about that. So once again, make sure you contact us, coffee@myelevatedlife.org. Also, if you want to become a sponsor, if you want to partner with us, you can also use that email as well in contact. But once again, social medias are up: Facebook, Instagram. Make sure you go onto those pages. That way you can win prizes. We're going to be giving out prizes and giveaways and all that good stuff. And I think everybody likes to win something.
Yes.
I love winning stuff.
Yes, me too. But I never win anything. But I love to win stuff too.
Babe.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to do something for you.
Oh, thanks, babe.
Okay. All right.
I'm going to hold you up to it.
You can come back to this podcast. And remember when you said that in minute number 5?
We actually have recordings now, so it's good because I can always go back and be like, this is what you said on this day.
Yeah, at this time, this is what you were wearing.
Let's make it happen.
Okay, cool. So, babe, what type of coffee do you have?
Okay, so you ready for this? I had to write it down because I was like, Sierra made it for me.
Yeah.
And it is a white chocolate mocha. With Hershey's syrup, the chocolate one, caramel syrup, half and half with coconut flakes and whipped cream.
Wow, it looks really good.
And it's iced because I love iced coffee.
I know.
It is amazing.
The coconut little things on top make it the flakes.
Yes, I love it. It tastes so good.
We're gonna post something later.
Ooh, you hear that?
Yeah, we're gonna post a video later so they can see it.
It's really good.
Awesome. So today we're talking about trash talk.
Yeah.
Right?
We tend to do a lot of that.
Oh my God, I was thinking the same thing. Oh my God. I'm like, we do a lot of that.
Like when you walk away from me as I'm going off on you and I'm like, oh, you talking trash? You talking trash?
Or when our kids are walking away after we tell them to do something. I'm sure they're whispering because when we were kids, we would do the same thing.
Yes. So every time my mom went off on me, I'll be like, she's so...
Oh,
yeah. As I'm walking away, she's like, what'd you say? Nothing. That's funny. It's definitely...
No, when I think of trash talk, I think about you, that every time you're upset with somebody, you'd be like, I'm done. I'm done with them. Gabriel, I'm done. That's it. I'm done. And then like a day later, you're not done. Guys, she does this thing where like she's just fed up with somebody or whatever.
You know why? It's because let me explain. It's because the reason why I say that is because I respond based on how I'm feeling at that moment. So if at that moment I want nothing to do with somebody, I'm like, I'm that's it. Like I'm done. But then I don't feel mad anymore the next day. So then I'm over it and I'm like, okay, I guess I'm not done. It's trash talk.
It is trash talk.
That's why we're here.
How about when you say that you're ready to divorce me?
Yeah, that too. That's trash talk.
Sometimes I don't feel it's trash talk.
Yeah, well,
because you're so mad.
Because sometimes it's not.
With me, I trash think instead of trash talk. So you're saying it, but I'm thinking it. I'm like, I'm so done with her.
Yeah, like the white chicks.
Yeah, you thought it. You said it. I love white chicks.
We're so corny.
We are. Yeah. Well, I think we're all guilty of trash talking.
Yeah.
You know, being negative, being harsh towards people, gossiping. I mean, I don't care who you are. I mean, even as pastors, sometimes we have to catch ourselves because I know we say it more like we're venting, but at the same time, it's things that shouldn't be discussed or shouldn't be said, right? And there is a law of agreement that talks about when two of you, like even the Bible talks about Matthew when it says that if two of you on earth should agree of anything and ask for it, it's going to be done. Like we have to be careful what we're saying, and especially when we're saying with somebody else and we're agreeing because we're establishing that on earth. And so we have to be really careful because we are prophetic people. I don't care who you are, or what you believe in, but we are prophetic people, and so we have to be real careful on what comes out of our mouth. And once again, a lot of times the reason why we're living the life that we're living is because of all the trash that we're talking. Yeah. Why are we mad all the time? Good. Why are we frustrated? Because that's what's coming out of our mouth. Yeah. So we have to be real careful. I mean, that scripture, I think you spoke about it last week, where it says, that death and life are in the power of the tongue. Yeah. So we have to be real careful when it comes to what's coming out of our mouth. Like, talk to me kind of on a personal level, like stuff that you've said and you've had to like kind of eat those things that you've said.
Oh wow, that's a tough. Cause I have a lot of those. I have a little too much, to be honest. Yeah. Wow, I gotta think on that.
Okay, we can come back to it. Yeah. But let me say, like, we don't realize that many times the thing that's keeping us from moving forward is our trash talking. Is the things that are coming out of our mouth. I don't care how anointed you are. I don't care how gifted like you guys are. We really need God to transform our mouths. Yeah. I mean, of course we have to transform our thoughts, but our thoughts are one thing, and then you have the ability to either keep it as a thought or project it out of your mouth. And so you have to be careful, because and we heard that lady speaking that one time. Remember, she's like, you can think about it. That's not what the problem is. The problem is that when you let it come out of your mouth, because then it becomes a seed.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? That thing that we heard from that lady?
Yeah. Your words are seeds, and they're being planted. Sometimes when you're speaking and you're saying something, it's being planted into soils that sometimes are fertile.
Yeah.
And then you have people that you can say things to them, and they're emotionally mature enough to receive whatever it is you're saying, or to reject whatever it is you're saying. But then you have people that are not emotionally mature, that when you speak to them, and you say a negative word, it's a fertile ground. And so you speak that word into them, and that's that seed that you're planting into their life, that sooner or later it gives fruit. So now I'm ready for what you're saying.
Okay.
What you asked me when you said, what are some things that I've said that have, basically trash talk. And I remember there was one time where Melody she was doing something, and I got upset with her, and I was like, that's not the way you do it. That's just not the way you do it. And I remember after that, it became like a conscious thing of hers, that she would always like double check everything she does, because of me saying that's not the way you do it all the time. And so I realized that my words, and I get a little emotional thinking about it, because I realized that my words affected her to the point where she started questioning a lot of the things that she would do. Or like double guessing or double questioning herself. Like, should I do this? Because if I do this, I'm doing the best that I can do, but is mom gonna come and criticize it or say, that's not how you're supposed to do it? And so I started realizing that change of behavior in her, and I had to change my vocabulary. I had to change the way that, that not only in the tone in which I spoke to her, but also, say it in a more loving way, where I'm also showing her and developing her, not just criticizing what she's doing. And I feel like that's one of the areas where I feel God is working in me, like, as far as like speaking to my kids in a way where it's not affecting their self-esteem or affecting, the way they look at themselves. Because the truth is that, like the word says, that out of the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. And sometimes what we're saying is actually what we ourselves are going through.
That's so
like what like you were saying, when was it, in the Monday morning call, that you were saying something like, the one thing that you criticize others about is the one thing that's really living in you. And I feel like a lot of times when we are speaking, because out of the abundance of the heart the mouth speaks, I feel like a lot of times we're saying things about other people that in reality we ourselves are. And so that has been a work in progress, for me. Like, that has been an area where I've had to work really, really hard, like in the form that I say things.
When you're saying that, like, what comes to my heart is like, or my mind, is that, could it be that maybe the environment that you were in, was that an environment where the way they spoke to you? Do you feel like that's kind of something that now you have to break? Because it's something that you've experienced in your life. I mean, I don't know. I'm just
like I grew up where it was like it was bold truth. And that bold truth was not always
nice.
It was just like, I'm saying it. I don't care how you feel about it. If it breaks you, it breaks you. If it does you wrong,
if it
it does you
offends
wrong.
you,
If it offends you, it offends you.
Yeah.
But this is what it is. Like,
Wow.
this is, I'm just gonna say it, and you deal with however it makes you feel.
Yeah.
You know, so there was really no consideration, you
Yeah.
know, to your feelings. There was no consideration to you know, how it was gonna affect you in the future.
Yeah.
You
But
know.
I can really attest to when we first got married. That's kind of what you brought to the marriage.
Yeah.
And then, but now it's kind of like I've seen you develop, whereas it's like no, that like it may slip here and there where you may say something to me or to the kids, but I see that you're really intentionally. I believe with the power of the Holy Spirit, you're changing.
Yeah.
You know, and so I really commend you on that.
And it's really hard because when you've sorry.
It's okay. It's all right.
When you're used to a certain way of being talked to, it's almost like a belief that you create in your mind that it's okay for people to talk to you the way that they talk to you.
Yeah.
You know, like it's okay for people to be strong and be critical and be, you know, and be bold and be mean and be, you know, it's okay for people to do that to you. Like I had that. I grew up with that mentality. Like it happens to me all the time. So what's the point of me even trying to? You know, like that's just what it was. So for me, it was like it's like a belief system that you create in your mind. Like, okay, I can just I can talk however I want to talk because I have the freedom to just be me. But I never realized, you know, even throughout my teenage years, I was just always a very bold, you know, and upfront type of person. And so I think that has been the hardest part, is like unlearning some things and breaking certain ways of speaking and certain ways of expressing yourself without hurting somebody's
because
feelings.
I mean, even when we first started ministry, like you would be like, this is it, and you didn't care. But at the same time, I felt like it was like a defense mechanism too, because it was kind of like if somebody were to kind of talk back to you, it would hurt you and you would start crying. So I mean, I don't know. But I really do see that you are doing so much better when it comes to that, and
thanks,
I think it's really the Holy Spirit. I mean, but even in the environments of like gossip and criticism and talking about people, stuff like that, like those are things we have to break, and we can't continue to do that because once again, you know, I mean, like I said, it was a negative household. You know, and so even to me, there's times that you had to correct me where like you'll give me an idea and I'd be like, oh, I don't know, we can't do it, we don't have the money for it, or hey babe, you know, babe, we need a new house. Well, babe, I don't have the money for it, you know. And I was always looking at the negative, you know, and it's like I had to break that, you know, and God has to challenge me through you. I believe He's challenged me to stop being so negative, stop talking so much trash, stop being so critical, you know, and start believing for the best. Get the trash talk, throw it in the trash. You know, and start speaking things, start speaking life. Start speaking positivity. Start speaking, you know, there was one point that we even said, hey, if we say one bad thing about a person, we gotta say 2 positive things about them. You know, because it's easy to look at the bad, it's easy to criticize, it's easy to talk about, it's easy to look at your situation and just start talking trash. Things will never get better. You know, this marriage, these kids, my finances, my house, my ministry, all these things, my relationship, all this is. I mean, it's easy to talk trash, and that's what the enemy wants. Because he knows that there's power in our tongue, and we're gonna eat of that. So we've got to be intentional about changing the way we talk.
Yes, absolutely. I believe that our mouths can either be weapons of destruction or of development. You know, we can tear someone down or we can develop them and grow them. You know, and that's a decision that we have to constantly make. And I think one of the most important things, you know, to really get a grasp of this area, like take control over this area, is by monitoring your feelings as well. Because I feel like a lot of times in my life, I responded and I said words based off of how I was feeling at that moment.
Yeah,
You know, and I think we need to monitor our feelings, because when we don't monitor our feelings, we are going to speak out of them. Right? And so when we can monitor our feelings and identify what is making us feel like, you know, identify the negativity behind those feelings, you know, we can be able to remove the negative and still speak in love. You know, still speak our heart. I'm not saying stay silent. Still speak what you feel.
And speak the truth.
Right, and speak the truth. But do it in a way that it's going to edify and not tear down. You know, and that's not always easy, because, you know, when you're in the heat of moments, and you're like in the middle of an argument, you're not gonna think to yourself, oh well, let me pause and let me monitor my feelings and then you know, say what I need to say. So for me, because I could, there was times where I couldn't control my mouth. You know, I would just,
you didn't want
I would lash out. I would lash out, and I would just be like, I'm gonna say what I say. You know, like, and I'm just gonna be real. But then later on, I feel terrible, because I'm like, man, I'm pretty sure like I hurt that person's feelings, and now I have to go back and humble myself and say sorry. You know, so I think it's very important to monitor those feelings. And you know, if you know that you in the heat of a moment, you're not gonna be able to monitor your feelings and control yourself. I think that in your prayer time, you need to pray and ask God, like, refrain my tongue. Help me to control, you know, my tongue and what's about to come out of my mouth, so that my mouth serves not as a weapon of destruction, but as a weapon of as a tool for development. You know, because I don't want to be that person that's constantly going around hurting others and putting people down and making them feel, you know, like they're inadequate, or like I'm better than them, or like, you know, like nobody ever wants to walk around thinking that way, unless you're like completely miserable and have, you know, and you just love to make other people miserable, you know, but.
And the Bible talks about that. It talks about that in Ephesians, that let no unwholesome talk come out of your mouth, but the thing that's going to be beneficial to other people. You know, and I think it's so. We talk about this all the time. That's easy to destroy. Anybody can destroy. Anybody can break things, but it takes an architect to build people up. And I believe God is calling us to be architects. He wants us to build other people up. There's so much negativity in the world. There's so many people that are bullying and all. I mean, we've had to deal with that, right? And it's so bad. So I made up in my mind that I want to be a person that builds people up. I want to make sure that when I speak to people, leave my presence. You know, they're slapped up a little bit. Somebody said that they were pierced in their soul, right? You know, like that's a good thing. You know, that's a good thing. It's not that they left offended and whatever, but they really left challenged by what we've said. You know, and so we got to really start thinking before we speak. I love that, monitoring your feelings, because your feelings can be valid. But remember, it just all depends on how you react, respond. We always talk about that, the reacting and the responding.
It's not what you say; it's how you say it and how you deliver it. You know, like. Because I can say to you something that is making me upset, and if I say it in an offensive way, what's gonna happen is it's not gonna make the situation better.
No.
And I think that a lot of people think to themselves, because this is the belief system that I created. That if I'm loud and rude, I'll be heard.
Wow.
If I'm loud and I'm bold, people will value my feelings.
I respect you,
People will, if I make noise, people will see me and care about what I feel. But the reality is that the louder I am, and the bolder I am, and the ruder I am, if that's even a word, the more rude I am, the more people shut down. The more people, you know, would have a tendency to disrespect you back, or to do something or say something. It's almost like you're talking, but You can dish it, but you can't take it.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, and you can put whoever down, but then when it comes to them responding to you, you all of a sudden become offended and you become the victim, when in reality it was something that you yourself created with your own mouth. You know, and I think that's very, like, that's very key to us being able to overcome that trash talk in our lives, is getting rid of that pessimistic, you know, mindset, and feeling like if I'm loud and if I'm bold enough and if I'm mean enough, then they'll hear me and they'll understand why I'm feeling the way I'm feeling.
Wow, that's good stuff.
But when you speak in love, about what's bothering you and what's hurting you, people will respond to it in a whole completely different way. They won't shut down. They won't feel offended. They won't, you know, and then now we can dialogue. Now we can speak and have an adult conversation, as opposed to us having an argument that's going to take us nowhere. That's possibly going to mess up the entire relationship that we built.
Then you say things that you shouldn't have said, and then, you know, there's things that I've said to you when we first got married that you still remember. That were not right. You know, that you could probably say the date, what I was wearing. You remember that, because words do have power. You know, and I've heard people say, you know, I'd rather get sucker punched in the eye than be spoken something negative, because the black eye will go away, but those words that were said pierces the heart and pierces the people, that they live with that forever. So you have things that your mom or parent or somebody said to you that, you know, you still to this day are suffering the not I don't want to say the consequences, but the effects of what was said to you when you were a kid. You know, same thing with us, between you and I, the same thing. We've said things. So it's really crucial that we, once again, monitor what we say, and then also discipline our tongues. We have to really discipline our tongues, because our tongues will run wild and say things, and you know what, and you're really gonna hurt people's feelings. You know, I mean, even our son has said, you know, things that when he was a kid that I didn't even think he remembered, that he'll bring up and say, hey, you remember when you said this to me? I'm like, oh my gosh, like, wow, I didn't realize that that it makes such an impact.
And it's like there's this quote that says, they may forget the words you told them, but they'll never forget how you made them feel. You know, and that is so true, because you can actually look back, you know, at your childhood. You can look back at certain situations that you were in, and you may not remember like every single word that was said to you, but you remember that negative feeling you had when it was said to you.
That's so good.
So there's been so many times where I speak to people and they're like, man, I don't remember exactly what it was they said, but I felt so inadequate. I felt so insecure. I felt so depressed. I felt so terrible, you know, and that is just something really, really big.
I mean,
people will remember how you made them feel.
Words leave scars. They do. I mean, words tear people apart. I mean, how many relationships, how many things have gone wrong is because of the words that we've said. You know, things have gone wrong because of things that come out of our mouth. You know, and so once again, you know, we can heal faster from a physical wound than an emotional wound. You know, and so we have a responsibility to like speak to our spouses, our friends, our children, speak words of life, of faith, of encouragement. You know, we correct people. Yes, like you said, we have to tell them the truth, but don't do it angrily. You know, you got to remember that everybody was made in the image of God. So you know, they have bad behaviors. But you know what? Children are good. Your husband may do some crazy thing, but in the end, he's a good person, you know. Your vice versa, you know. I mean, whatever. You correct them, you love them, but don't start cutting them with your words. And that's what we do. We're constantly cutting people with our hurtful words. So
I think that I love how you're saying that, because I feel like a lot of times in marriages, we're so quick to have a sit down about what we don't like about each other. But when there is something that you're doing that's making me happy, that's building me up, when there's something that you're saying, when your actions are showing that you love me, although you're not saying that all the time with your words, you're saying it with your actions. Right? And so I feel like we are so quick to sit down with a person and confront them about what they're doing wrong. But when have you ever seen someone sit down with someone else and say, hey, can I go for coffee with you?
Yeah.
You know, and the entire conversation is focused on how that person has grown.
Wow.
You know, how that person has impacted you,
That's
how
so good.
they, you know, how you've seen them when they first stepped into the church as opposed to how they are now. Like,
Wow.
when have you ever seen someone
Yeah.
say, let me take you out, let's have a conversation.
Yeah.
Let me take you somewhere and celebrate your growth.
Yeah, instead of trash talk.
Instead of sitting down with them and being like, well, you did this and you offended me with your
Yeah,
words
yeah,
and you did
yeah.
this, that, the other. Like, we are so quick to confront the negative, but we don't ever want to confront the positive and see like, hey, like, I've seen the change. I've seen, you know, let me celebrate you.
I think people would freak out, to be honest, because
because it's unheard of.
That's what I'm saying. Because anytime somebody says, "Pastor, I want to speak to you," I'm already like, okay, what the heck? Like, oh my God, okay, it's gonna be a complaint.
Right.
It's gonna be something's wrong.
Right.
You know, even sometimes when people text me, "Hey, Pastor," I'm like, oh my God, here comes a problem. You know, but what if we were to change that
Let's
around?
make that a thing.
A shift.
Yes, let's make that a thing.
A celebration.
Absolutely.
You know, I think if we do that, I think we would shine brighter.
Yes. And the self-esteem of other people goes higher, because the truth is, we don't realize that everyone around us, especially, you know, for example, us as pastors, we're in a church, right? You know, a lot of our members and our spiritual sons and daughters, they are every day making an effort to grow.
Yeah.
Every day making an effort to get closer to God, to be more like God, you know, because serving God is not easy.
Yeah.
You know, being a Christian is not easy. Being a human being is not easy. You're dealing with different people, different personalities, different everything. So it's so important for us to take that time. I think it should totally be a thing.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I need to talk to you. Can we please get together? And then just show up with balloons and whatever and celebrate their growth. Celebrate what God has done in their life. Like, man, I've noticed that you used to be this very negative person. You were very pessimistic.
Yeah.
And now, like, I see you growing in your marriage as a mother, you know, as a husband, as this, as that. Why can't we do that for each other? I feel like that's gonna, because there's people that are literally every single day fighting to be better.
Yeah.
And sometimes they get discouraged because they don't feel that somebody else is saying, hey, good job. I see the change. I see the progress. I see how much you're growing. That's why like, for us as pastors, I love it, because you're that type of pastor. Like, you're constantly like, man, I've seen your growth. You're doing such a good job in your area of ministry. And I see the esteem of the people. It grows. It grows. Like, because now they feel confident. Now they feel like, man, my pastor just called out something positive that I've been working so hard on.
It's kind of like when you're working out, like when you're at the gym, that sometimes you don't, you know, you're working out and maybe you don't see the results completely. But somebody's like, good. Man, have you lost weight? Have you gone to the gym? Are you working out? You look a little bit skinnier. And that person's like, well, I've been going to the gym, but I don't see the difference inside of me. But you pointing it out, I'm like, wow, you know, and that builds somebody up.
That's the best feeling ever.
That is.
Like, when I'm in those little phases where I'm starting to go to the gym and I hear somebody be like, Pastora, you look so skinny. I'm like, thank you, girl. Like, that's the best news in the world. Like, to know that someone notices your progress and your growth, that helps your self-esteem. And that helps you continue to grow as a person, because you're no longer discouraged. Like, now you're saying, okay, I feel good about myself. People are seeing this change. They're recognizing this change. So let me stay in that course. Let me stay in that development. Let me stay in that growth.
Absolutely.
You know, so I love that. I love that.
Guys, we've got to really monitor what's coming out of our mouth. We have to really be careful, because once again, a lot of us are talking trash, and trash is stinky, you know, and it's overwhelming and it's annoying, and you're not going to go anywhere. So you've got to throw out the trash. That trash talking, you got to get rid of it. You got to let it get out of your vocabulary, and you got to be mindful and aware of what's coming out of your mouth. And you know, whatever you're speaking, criticism, gossip, talking about people, monitor that. And you know, if you find yourself, you know, talking like that, catch yourself and change the conversation.
Mm-hmm.
James tells us, be quick to listen and slow to speak.
Yeah.
And that is so key.
Talk on
That we're so quick to speak and we don't listen. Even in conversations, even in arguments, we are ready to rebuttal. We're ready to come back with an answer that we're not really listening to each other. And so that's what brings more problems and more issues. Is because once again, you're not listening correctly. You just want to be heard.
Yeah.
You want to just talk.
Yeah.
Right. So you've got to be quick to listen and slow to speak. All right. And get in the habit of pausing for a minute.
Yeah.
Let your emotions slow down, calm down.
Yeah.
And some things are better left unsaid.
Yeah.
You don't have to win every argument.
Silence is golden.
That's right.
Yes.
You don't have to win every argument.
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to comment on every situation. You don't have to put everybody in their place. I've talked about this before.
Yeah.
And once again, you got to get rid of that. And trash talk is not just talking about other people. It's even talking about yourself.
Yeah.
So we have to really be careful because once again, we've said it before that life and death are in the power of the tongue.
Yes, absolutely. That's good, babe. That's good. And so, we are super glad that you have tuned in today. We pray that this has been a blessing to you. Thank you so much for your support.
Yes.
And we just want to finish with this and encourage you and tell you, hey, if there's some things you have to change as far as trash talking, we pray that in the name of Jesus, God would really get you to a place where you are able to speak positively, look at things positively, and really put these things into practice so that you can live a better life.
Let me say this as we close out. One word can start a major problem, or one word can start a major blessing. Choose your words.
That's good. That's so good, babe.
We love you.
Yes, we love you guys. Thank you so much for tuning in, and we will see y'all next Tuesday.
God bless you.